This is how you make Trader Joe's Mandarin Orange Chicken healthier at home. Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm doing something a little bit different today than my previous YouTube videos. I'm starting a new series. I'm calling it Healthier at Home. Healthier at Home is gonna be all about remaking my favorites from different stores or restaurants or fast casual places and making it just a little bit healthier in your home. I felt like the best product to start with is one of my OG faves. I feel like so many people love it. The Mandarin Orange Chicken from Trader Joe's. I feel like everybody loves the Trader Joe's Orange Chicken. I love it. It was a staple for me during college because it was cheap, it's fast, it tastes really good. It kind of tastes like takeout, but at home. It's just like the perfect meal. And it really did get me through college. So it's very nostalgic, but it's not gluten-free. And I like to make my recipes gluten-free, of course. And it has a pretty long list of ingredients, which I will read out in a minute. So I just want to make it simpler. I want to make it a little bit healthier. I want to make it gluten-free. It's going to be dairy-free as well, just like this one is. I have really high hopes for this. I think it's going to be really delicious. I think the star is that orange sauce, which we're going to recreate right here. Okay, so let's get right into it. Let's read all of the ingredients and then I'll let you know what I'm thinking for what I'm going to use for my ingredients. We have Mandarin orange chicken, a savory dish of tender battered chicken with Mandarin orange ginger sauce. So of course, orange and ginger are gonna be two big ingredients here. And for the ingredients, battered chicken dark meat chunks, parentheses, chicken dark meat, water, cornstarch, flour, parentheses, unbleached enriched wheat flour, barley flour, niacin, iron, I don't know this word, thiamine, mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid, end parentheses, whole eggs, vegetable oil, salt, white pepper, green onion, garlic,
ginger, and parentheses.
Okay, so a lot of ingredients, and I know I can cut down this list by quite a few, so let me talk through what I'm thinking I'm gonna use. So here's all the ingredients that I got to make this recipe, and I think this is gonna be everything we need, but I may need to grab a couple of extra things. So obviously the primary ingredient is gonna be chicken. I did skinless, boneless chicken thighs. Based on tasting the actual chicken in the Trader Joe's Orange Chicken, I think chicken thighs is definitely gonna be the right cut here because it's a darker, little more tender, fattier meat. And I love cooking with chicken thighs, especially when breading. So I think that's gonna be great. I got 4 oranges. I feel like I'm gonna use 2, and I wanna use the zest and the juice because you get so much flavor from the zest. And I also did get orange juice bottled if I actually need it, but I'm gonna try to make it just the whole fruit and see if we can get that sweetness. I'm gonna use maple syrup instead of using the juice, hopefully. Other components that are gonna go in the sauce other than the orange juice and the zest and the maple syrup, sriracha, just a little bit. I want it to have a little kick, but nothing too crazy because it is a very sweet chicken. And then sesame oil, I feel like that's key for this kind of orangey chicken dish flavor. Same with rice vinegar. Then I have fresh ginger root and garlic. You can probably just use garlic powder or ground ginger, but I think the flavor that we're gonna get from the fresh garlic and ginger is gonna be really great. I have the tapioca flour for coating, and I'm gonna make a little marinade first to put the chicken in and then coat it in tapioca flour, but I am gonna put a little bit of tapioca flour in the marinade and in the sauce as well. So tapioca flour is gonna be key here. If you don't use tapioca flour, you don't keep it on hand. It's very similar to cornstarch. You can also use arrowroot starch, which is a very popular sub for tapioca. Any of those are gonna work here. And then I have my avocado oil for frying. You can use any neutral oil. I've got salt. I have sesame seeds for garnish at the end. And I also picked up some green onion for garnish at the end as well. And of course, I feel like you can't have orange chicken without a little bit of white rice on the side. So we're gonna cook a pot of that. Before I actually get into cooking, I'm gonna cook up the Trader Joe's orange chicken. And I just wanna be able to see what we're trying to recreate. I wanna see the texture of the sauce, how crispy the chicken is, and just kind of like the overall components that I'm attempting to make a little bit healthier at home. Okay, so first step is to heat a 1/4 cup of cooking oil in a skillet. So I'm gonna add my oil. Now I'm just adding all the chicken. And we let that cook for 8 to 10 minutes. So now we're ready to add the sauce. And it just comes in these little frozen sauce packets. It's thick, but it's not too thick. still pretty liquidy and saucy. Okay, Trader Joe's orange chicken. I'm not gonna lie, it smells so good. It looks really good, and I wish I could try it. I'm not gonna because it does have gluten in it, but just being able to see the process of each component going into the pan, how crispy the chicken looks, and just like the smells that I'm getting is so helpful. And I've had this orange chicken many times, so I know the taste. And in terms of what it looks like, this is what I'm gonna be going for. I really, really want those crispy edges. I want the sauce to be this kind of orangey, brownish color that has orange, but it's not super, super orangey. I do like an orange taste, so mine might have a little bit more, but I can smell how sweet it is. And I do want a sweet chicken, so the maple syrup's gonna really play in here. All right, so let's get into cooking. Here's how to make my version of Trader Joe's Mandarin orange chicken. Cut chicken into 1 inch to 1.5 inch cubes using kitchen shears or a knife and place in a bowl. I noticed in the Trader Joe's one that it does vary. So it doesn't have to all be the exact same size, but just cutting them into small pieces so that all of them can get a nice crust on the outside. All right, I have my 2 pounds of boneless chicken thighs cut into those 1 to 1.5 inch pieces. And now I'm gonna make a quick marinade. And one ingredient that I forgot to call out is coconut aminos. That's gonna give the saltiness. It's like a soy sauce. You can use soy sauce here. You can use tamari. I like to use coconut aminos. It's a gluten-free alternative, but very similar. It's a little bit less salty than soy sauce, so I'm gonna add salt to make up for it. But if you're using soy sauce, you may not need it. So I'm gonna start off with a 1/2 cup of the coconut aminos. I'm doing a tablespoon of sriracha, tablespoon of sesame oil, and then I'm just gonna grate up 3 garlic cloves. I want the pieces to be as small as possible, so I'm using my zester, and I'm just gonna grate it right in. Now I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of salt and 3 tablespoons of the tapioca flour. Okay, now I'm just mixing to coat all of that. This is what it looks like. I'm just gonna let this rest for about 15 minutes in the fridge. Okay, my chicken has been marinating for just about 15 minutes, and now I'm gonna coat the chicken again using tapioca flour. So I'm gonna add a cup to this big mixing bowl, and I may end up adding more. I'm gonna see how much I need. And I don't wanna do too many at once because I do really wanna get them coated. So I'm gonna start by doing like 3 at once. Maybe, I guess I can do a few more. I'll do 5. And now I'm just using a fork to coat them all over and put them on a plate. And I like doing this method of the marinade because I didn't need to do any egg. It is a little bit of a labor of love to coat chicken in flour and then fry it up, but it's gonna be worth it. I find tapioca flour is easy to work with. It's a really light flour and it coats really well. So I'm almost always reaching for tapioca flour. So I'd say I did about half and then added more flour, and now I'm doing the other half. Continue to work in batches of 4 to 5 pieces of chicken until it is all coated. Discard the remaining marinade. Okay, last batch. I wasn't kidding when I said it really is a labor of love. So I don't do breaded chicken all that much, but when I do, it's really good. All right, after all of that, I have 2 huge plates of breaded chicken. The next thing that I'm gonna do is just set this in the freezer while I prep the rest of my ingredients because I really do want them to have that coating really on there. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get my ingredients in order for the sauce. I'm also gonna put on a pot of rice and kind of just like regroup so that we can start the frying. Okay, so I've been freezing these for about 30 minutes, and now what I'm gonna do is heat up my oil. So I'm using the biggest skillet I have because I know I'm gonna need a lot of space and I want it to be deep. And I'm heating it up on medium heat. I may turn it up a little bit higher, but I'm gonna start on medium. Starting with a 1/4 cup of avocado oil. Just because this pan is big, I think I'm already gonna go on with a little bit more. I would say closer to a 1/3 cup. So we're gonna start there, and we are gonna need more oil for each batch. Okay, so I'm just starting to slowly add the pieces of chicken into the oil now that it's hot. Add the chicken in small batches, being careful not to crowd the pan. Fry for 3 to 4 minutes on each side until brown and crispy. You can tell that these are getting brown and golden on the sides. It's ready to flip. So that was about 3 to 4 minutes. Wow. When you do this, just be careful of oil. You don't want to get sprayed. Okay, and now I'm gonna do another 3 or so minutes. Got them crispy on all sides. Oil's getting loud. And now I'm just transferring them to this rack. Transfer the cooked chicken to a wire rack with a tray or paper towel underneath to drain excess grease. These are just like the most beautiful little chicken pieces I've ever made, I think. And I did use a meat thermometer just to make sure they were at 165, so I highly recommend that. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit or a lot of bit more oil. You are gonna use a lot of oil here. And that will also help to get the temperature of the oil back down a little bit so we don't have any smoking oil. Batch 2 is done. And I think the freezing really paid off because I'm not getting any flour bits in the oil, which is helping to keep the oil a little bit clean, I guess. Last batch. I think I did 4 batches total, maybe 5. I kind of lost count, honestly. But look how golden brown and perfect all of these pieces are. I'm actually so impressed with myself. So crispy. So the chicken is all done. It's so crispy, crunchy, golden, beautiful. I'm really, really happy with it. And I just want to try a piece before I add the sauce. So hopefully you can see this. It's got all browned all over. And if you need to, depending on the piece, there were some that I had to flip, not just on both sides, but maybe over to another side to get it crispy all over. So it just depends on the size. I hope the noise of the crunch came through because it's so crunchy. So good. Like I would eat this no sauce, so delicious. Make the orange sauce. Okay, so I just wiped the pan clean and now I'm using the same pan. I have it over medium heat still and I'm gonna start making the sauce. So I'm just starting with a little bit of sesame oil, that's just 1 teaspoon. Add the sesame oil, garlic, and ginger and stir constantly for 30 seconds. You don't want any burning. Now I'm going in with the rest of my sauce ingredients. So this is a 1/4 cup of coconut aminos, got 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, got a teaspoon, just a little bit, of sriracha. And if you really don't like spice, you could leave out the sriracha, but I like a little bit. Now this is the juice of 2 oranges, about a 1/2 cup to 2/3 cup. And I have the zest of both those oranges. I'm starting with half of the zest because I really just want to taste and then make sure it's not too overpowering before I add any more. The orange flavor, the sweetness, the juice is going to contribute to the sweetness too. And of course the maple. And now I'm just going to bring this whole mixture to a simmer. And while I'm bringing that to a simmer, I'm making the starch slurry. Add the tapioca flour and water to a small bowl. Stir until all of the flour is dissolved. This is what's going to give us a little bit of thickness. Okay, now that we're at a simmer, I'm adding in that starch mixture. And it will take a minute for you to actually see the result of the thickening. And I'm just gonna salt this a little bit. Like I mentioned before, if you're using soy sauce, you may not need it, or tamari. But since I'm using coconut aminos, I like to add a little bit of salt, probably a 1/2 teaspoon here. Okay, so now that I've let this simmer for just a few minutes, just to thicken up, you can see it's similar to the Trader Joe's one where it's still liquidy. I don't want it to be gelatinous. That's why I only did a teaspoon of the tapioca flour and I'm happy with this consistency. So I just turned off the heat. I'm gonna let it sit for a couple of minutes to cool and then I'm gonna add in the chicken. Okay, let's add the chicken to the sauce. I'm not gonna lie, it's looking pretty similar. I have a little bit of pulpiness to mine because I have the zest, but I don't hate that. I like a little bit of orange zest and it has the minced ginger, the garlic. When you're working with real food, get some real food pieces. If that really bothered you though, you could also blend it. Even in the pan, it's like so crunchy and crispy that you can hear it as it's moving around. And smells literally so good. Oh my gosh. I just have a feeling this is gonna be one of my favorite recipes I've ever made. Did take a lot of work though. All right, let's get this plated up and then we're gonna have to do the side-by-side reveal. Okay, and we're gonna do the sesame seed garnish. Okay, I think it's side-by-side time. I'm nervous. All right, do you know which one is which? We've got the Trader Joe's orange chicken. And then we've got my gluten-free paleo. I didn't even mention that this was paleo, but it is. Orange chicken. And I gotta say, coloring, very, very similar. Sauce texture, very, very similar. Crispiness. Honestly, mine might be even a little bit crispier. So this was such a success, and the last thing we have to do now is plate it and taste it. All right, so I got some cooked white rice, and I'm gonna plate up the Trader Joe's orange chicken. I'm gonna plate up my orange chicken, and we're gonna do a taste test. Starting with the Trader Joe's and my orange chicken. Let's do a little green onion garnish and a little lime squeeze. They look so similar. Like they actually look like the same food. Okay, I've been waiting for this for longer than I'd like to admit, because that took a while, but let's do the taste test. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's literally like the best thing I've ever made. It's so good. It's so worth the extra time. I know it's a lot of steps, but if you're trying to be creative and like just make something new, I cannot recommend it enough. This could be like a fun date night meal, or if you're just like kind of having, I don't know, a lazy Saturday and you want to do something fun, make this orange chicken. It's so good. I can't believe it's paleo, can't believe it's gluten-free. The crisp is amazing. The sauce, I'm so happy with how it came out. It does taste, it truly tastes like I'm having a hard time telling them apart, because it truly does taste like the Trader Joe's version. And my now gluten-free heart is very happy knowing that I have this. I cannot wait for you guys to make it. So if you do make it, let me know. Let me know in the comments any other healthier at home remakes that you would like to see. It doesn't have to be a Trader Joe's product. It could be anything that I can access here in Boston. And I'm really excited to just continue this series. This was a really great way to kick it off. I feel like it came out perfectly, and I don't know if all of them will, but I'm feeling very confident now, and I want to hear what you want to see. So make sure you comment below, subscribe to my channel. Thank you in advance for subscribing and being a subscriber. And then links for everything is in the description of this video. My Instagram, my TikTok, my Substack, which is where I do my newsletter that I send out every week, my Facebook, my Pinterest. You can find everything in the description, along with links to all the kitchen tools that I use. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna be downing this entire plate now when I end this, and I need to know if you guys make it. So please let me know, and have a great week.